3, 2, 1.
What's going on, Southwest ISD? What is going on? Welcome to another episode of the Scoreboard Podcast. I am your man, Brandon Big Poppy Medina.
Boom!
Here with what nickname are you gonna go with?
I'm just Peter Wagner,
With
the athletic
with
director.
Pete Wagner, Mr. Pete Wagner.
No, we're gonna have to spend a few more weeks figuring that out.
Figure out a nickname for you. That's where we gotta go.
Let's go to the listeners.
Let's go to listen. We can ask listeners. Who knows what nicknames are gonna be coming up with you? But we got your athletic director.
It is censored.
El Jefe, Mr. Peter Wagner, in the building. How are we doing, sir?
I'm doing fine. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. It's an exciting time. We just came back from a big signing, which we'll get into.
Yeah.
But we have not only a few sports to talk about and a few big things to talk about, but I mean we have district championships to get into. We have the start of seasons to get into.
Playoffs.
Talk about playoffs.
Playoffs.
We have people going Division I from Southwest ISD.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Stuff that is, I'm sure, on your chalkboard at the beginning of every year to hopefully achieve and get through into the different seasons.
No, I mean it's on everybody's. Do we use chalkboards?
I don't listen.
I didn't even think
There's a generational
did
gap
we
between you and I, so I'm just trying to be respectful of you.
Trying to figure out. Have you ever seen a chalkboard?
I've seen a chalkboard play.
Do you know what a chalkboard looks
Southwest
like? I'm not
just
talking
got
about the
redone.
sidewalk chalk you still
Listen.
use on the when you get bored.
Listen,
No,
listen.
we're not talking about you playing hopscotch.
No, listen.
No.
Me playing hopscotch? No.
Touche.
Exactly. Yeah, no hopscotch over here. But talk to me about, I guess, what's on the digital boards that you guys are now using, on the scoreboards that we now have all over the place. What are you?
Well,
all,
they're not up yet.
Not up yet?
We're still working on that.
But looking at, I guess, the seasons that have wrapped up and the seasons that are just beginning, I'm sure you as athletic director have to feel very proud of the commitment to results that these teams have really showed throughout the district.
Wow, look at that.
Come on now.
So on the video boards that are up in the gyms.
We need to get this podcast on video just to see your reactions to certain segments.
So a few things. Number one on the video board in the gyms is happy National Women's and Girls in Sports Day.
Yes.
That was pretty cool getting to go out to all of our women coaches and things like that and surprise them with some cookies and just thank them for
awesome.
for doing that. We are at a shortage of a lot of things to include women coaches to be great role models for our young female athletes. And so the ones who choose to do that on a day in and day out basis and stick with us and get better at their craft, we are very grateful for them. And so that was a great start to the day. Things that are on the things that we want to brag about a little bit. You had the Dragons, the Dragon basketball team won the outright district championship last night.
Yep.
12-0 in what looked like the Harlem Globetrotters for a little bit.
Just dunk contest
it was a
galore.
dunk contest. I mean, the no look alley oop from Janai to I think it was to Josiah was like, oh, that was kind of dirty.
Yeah.
You know.
With this team, when was the last time basketball's won
Here's what's going on right now. Is the last really good team is starting to show up, and now they're like Coach Wagner. They're like talking trash. They're like, nah, Coach, we get Ray Pastrano out here, and we get the Alexander brothers with Kendrick and all these dudes. Nah, we'll wax them. I was like, calm down. I was like, y'all need to calm down. Y'all were good, but they got you on the dunk contest right now and everything. But that's what's going on right now. They're like they're all coming out to see him. Saw Michael Hall yesterday and J Rod and a couple others that were on that 08, 09 team and things.
It's been that long, huh? So
yeah, it's been a while since we've been. I mean, we've been to the playoffs a few times,
sure,
and stuff like that.
But we're talking 15 years.
But you're
plus
talking about since
championship.
Yeah, since we were really rolling through there a little bit.
Yeah, I mean 12-0. I mean, it's not an easy feat. You got to.
And they're fun to watch.
They really are.
I mean, I said it last week. The way they play is frenetic. It's like you get tired watching them because they're just all over. It's like tip ball, like a a steal and everything else. And how about AJ Franco going off for 5 for 7 from the 3-point line for 21 points and everything? I mean, like
Coach Franco's a little hyped up.
Oh
Dad's hyped
yeah,
up for
oh yeah.
sure.
Dad's shirt didn't fit walking out. He's like, whoa.
Actually, I bet your dad, Coach Franco, over there is like, hey, you missed 2. You missed. Don't get too cocky. You missed 2.
What are you doing missing 2 shots?
What are you missing 2 shots?
Come on. He was 2 for 2 on layups though, because he had
awesome.
some great steals and things like that. But it was a really cool night. Big old crowd.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Very much felt rivalry like.
Nice.
And things like that. Did you go?
No. I heard from you and I heard from David Ellis about you're the second person to say Harlem Globetrotters. That's why I laughed. David Ellis also was like, I feel like I was watching the Harlem Globetrotters.
Yeah, it was. Trey had a reverse dunk. We had one where Z Voss was doing a reverse layup, but it's kind of wild. He just kind of threw it up because he was in a bad spot. Threw it up, and Josiah just kind of grabbed it right above the rim and put it down and everything. It looked like an amazing alley-oop. Wow. And we were like, so I'm pretty sure Z, that's what Z's claiming right now. It's just pass, no look, pass behind the back. You know what I mean? But no, it was a fun night to watch them. And then congratulations to Trey. Trey Martin went over 1,000 points last night.
Wow.
As a junior. So excited for him. And, but they still got some big games left.
Yeah.
It's all wrapped up, but, you kind of like the volleyball girls, when they were going, being undefeated in districts is a pretty cool thing. So they still got to finish up with Harlandale and then the Fire and Armor to end the season next Tuesday. And so pretty excited for them. The Titans are riding the struggle bus right now. I mean, they're just in every game, and a little bit of a young team, but gave up a pretty big lead toward the end against Harlandale, and then yesterday took a hard loss to Medina Valley. But the great thing is they put themselves in a spot to choose how to respond,
right?
And get in the playoffs still. So huge game if you're looking for a game to watch on Friday. Huge game against Eagle Pass win. But it's a win. It's almost a win and you're in. So I don't know who Eagle
almost
Pass
a win
plays.
And you're in against win and win.
No, it's not. But not in win.
But not in win. There
yeah.
you go.
So the winner of that game takes the lead.
Yeah.
With one game left. Obviously Legacy plays Southwest, and I don't know who win ends with, and so that kind of becomes a very interesting dynamic.
Wow.
Obviously, just when you look at favorites, you being the betting man and all.
Southwest is
you probably want to make sure you win the win game.
Yes.
Because
the odds
Southwest has. I don't know that anybody's been within 20 points of Southwest in the second half of the season. It's
been pretty incredible to watch. Now you said Legacy. You look at these scores; they are in every game, right?
Oh yeah.
You look at the Harlandale, that's OT. You look at Medina Valley, that's 2 points.
And they were up by 20 against Harlandale.
So looking at these games, right? You beat good teams. You beat McCullum, you beat Southside, then you go. Lost a really close one to South San, lost to Harlandale, lost to Medina Valley. All super close, though, within range.
They're a top 4 team. There's no doubt about it. It's
and my question to you, as a former coach and now somebody who gets to oversee these programs and looks at things from a bird's eye view, right? For the sophomores and juniors, what are you telling them as a coach with these really close defeats? This has to be a learning opportunity.
Well, and their starting point guards are freshmen,
right?
It's just you learn through experience
and adversity.
And adversity, and you like we tell our kids, you always get to choose how you respond. Mm-hmm. You're not a product of your circumstances. You're a product of your choices.
Right.
And so, let's go. Step up. It's a new day. We still get to walk around on the earth and play a basketball game. So let's go have fun and play it.
Absolutely.
And it is a big game. So let's go.
All right. Well, talk to me a little bit about switching gears from the basketball court to the soccer field.
Not yet.
Not yet?
Dude, it is National Women's and Girls in Sports Day.
Well, we could go
The
straight
Dragons finished off their season with a clean sweep of South San. The girls,
Yeah.
the Lady Dragons.
Mm-hmm.
So congratulations on going out on a high
Absolutely.
note. Won more games this year in district than they've won in the last 3 or 4.
Really?
Yeah. Yep.
So both
there's
basketball
been some
programs in
growth.
Southwest just
They're
turning
gotten a
turning
lot.
things.
They're starting to turn that corner.
Are we a basketball
stuff.
school now? Is this happening right now? Are we completely going over to just?
I mean, I think soccer would have something to say
Yeah,
about that.
That's what I'm saying.
You know, the like 80-0
Yeah.
in district of soccer.
Yeah.
You know,
And talk about not close. There's some.
yeah.
There's some
And then
7-0
the
games
Legacy
in there.
Titan soccer is 3-0 as well. So I mean, like, you know, when you're like, y'all only won
saying-
6-0.
I'm
Like,
saying-
what's going on?
Yeah, what's happening? Like
So-
like Coach Franco said. Yeah. What,
Yeah,
you missed
exactly.
2
Like,
shots?
what are you doing? But kudos to the Lady Titans at Legacy, who today we got to do their flips, and I can tell you, the Lady Titans will be playing at the Harlan District Gym at Harlan High School on Tuesday.
Cool.
Currently at 6:00. There's a possibility that time could move to 6:30, but right now it's at 6:00. It'll be the first of a doubleheader, possibly. But it'll be on Tuesday in that 6:00 window, and they're playing MacArthur, and we go from there. And I was gonna segue with MacArthur.
I was looking to see where you were going with this. I was gonna let you. ride it a
I was
little
gonna go ahead and just ride that segue right into realignment real quick before we hit
Sure,
up some
go
soccer.
ahead.
So
the pause was too long, but I get where you were
well,
going.
but
You know
I
what
was
mean?
kind of like I was like, that's not the, because Brandon goes through and has like a whole hit sheet of what we're supposed to talk about all the
Right.
way through and everything else like that. So I just kind of decided to throw him a curveball and
There
skip
you
it.
go.
Like that's not true. He does not have an
Yeah,
actual
100%.
like he's prepared.
I have a hit sheet.
No.
You can hear the ruffling.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
ruffling of the papers.
No.
Um,
So
but we
point
talk-
being this.
We did hit on realignment a little bit
Last week, right.
There was a hit list of realignment that we talked about last week. However, going into this week, we got confirmations of some of those guesses.
So yeah,
And then got thrown a curveball with
a little bit
MacArthur.
with MacArthur. That's that's why I used it as a segue.
There you go.
So anyway, so what we thought happened, what we thought was going to happen in football. We ended up in a 9-team district. So we got their same Laredo schools, Eagle Pass win, the same type of thing that we had last year. The only thing we did in football was replace. We took out Medina Valley, who went 6A, and then we put in the J Mustangs. So we took out one old rivalry and put in a new one.
Yep.
And we're off and running again. So we got them in football. So just your 2 non-district games in football will be for the Dragons. They'll go to Harlandale week 1,
Okay.
and we're waiting to see what that week 2 game is going to be, if it's home or away. But that'll be with Lockhart week 2. Hopefully that'll be the first game at home with the new press box.
Nice.
So that's what we're hoping for there. And then the Mighty Titans are going to open up the season with the Jefferson Mustangs at home.
Man. That's a bit
And then
forward.
they will rekindle or continue to play the Lee Volunteers away. Hopefully not on a Saturday for the second game.
Nice.
So that's so realignment with that, but then you take all the other sports where you got basketball, volleyball, soccer, and things like that, and we also ended up in a 9-team district,
Okay.
which is a little bit. We were in an 8-team district, now we're in a 9-team district, and so what we did there was we ended up getting rid of Medina Valley, but then we added 2 teams, so we added J,
Yep.
just like everything else. And so we got Harlandale and McCullum and everybody
Yeah.
we're playing right now. And then we added MacArthur. So the team that the Titans are playing in the playoffs on Tuesday become a district opponent for the 24, 25, 26 seasons.
Gotcha. And so MacArthur's not going to be in football, though. It's going to be
Not in football.
all the other sports.
All the other sports.
So looking at it right now, that's what I was looking at, and that's why I want to ask the question, because it looks like, which could be a segue, you let me know.
Mhm.
If you're not done talking yet, we don't have
Well,
to. But
and they're better in tennis. They're better in a few other things. too.
so they're definitely really good at tennis. I saw that too. They're okay at basketball, but the girls specifically, it looks like, are very good at soccer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so looking at it, I mean, this season, from what I'm looking at, they're 8-2-1 overall, 6-0 in district for the girls, and then for the boys, 7-5 for the season, 5-1 in district. So it looks like soccer could be adding some competition for sure, at least in the district play. So that's going to be really good for our teams. And
Basketball is good. Baseball, they're really good. Softball, they're very good. Track, they'll have their moments in track.
Yeah.
And then volleyball, they've been
They're
good
a good addition
before.
for sure.
They're definitely not like a got a dub type of thing.
No.
So it's gonna be they're competing for district champion. They're probably pretty similar to Medina Valley to a certain degree.
I think that's a great comp.
I would say that's probably in a little bit like that. Jay is always competitive with us.
Those
things.
crowds are gonna be fun.
Yeah, the crowds would be a little bit different
because the J families in the Southwest high school and Scobie families and stuff live very, very close to each other.
Now, I will say this for our fans: there's going to be a difference in just how we live in terms of, because now you're in with the north side and the northeast school districts. They play games on crazy days and different venues.
What do you mean? Explain a little bit.
Stuff like that.
Give us an explanation or an example.
Well, so when in our district, all of our schools are either one or two high school districts, and they all pretty much have their own gyms, and we all kind of function the same,
right?
And stuff like that. Northside, those guys, they have 11 high schools, and they have three big gyms, and they got to play all of their girls and boys basketball games in those big gyms. So like you'll get girls games on Mondays, you'll get girls games on Wednesdays. You'll play two, and you'll be the first of a triple header sometimes, the first of a double header sometimes.
Wow.
You'll have an 8:00 game at Paul Taylor every once in a while, and then and go. It just depends on where you end up, right?
Jay, we got in football, right?
Now MacArthur's not so bad because, to my knowledge, they play most of their games at MacArthur.
Right.
But Jay, you have to do that, and it's kind of, we had that same type of discussion about football, about they play on Saturdays. We haven't played a Saturday game in 2 or 3 years.
And they play at the Northside Complex right there on 14.
Right. They play either at Gus or at Ferris, but most of the time they're gonna play at Gus, and so we're you're subject to a lot of different scheduling because they're part of such a big school district.
Interesting. Never thought about it like that.
Mm-hmm. And then your JVs and freshmen play completely different. So like you might have a varsity game on a Tuesday that where you'd usually play on Tuesday. You might play your varsity game on Tuesday, but it's just the varsity, and then you're going to play a JV and freshman game at J High School, possibly at the same time.
Whoa.
You know what I mean? Like, it kind of depends, and they're trying to work all that kind of stuff out. But those are things that we're not necessarily used to doing I don't think it'd be on a regular basis, but it's something different. Like, you get in a routine, right? You're like, okay, the freshmen are going to play at 5, and the JV are going to play at 5 at the same time. Then the varsity comes on. You're just used to doing that, and now you're like, what? We got a JV game on Wednesday?
A Saturday game?
We're playing on Saturday at what? 11? What are we doing here? Like, I don't, so those are some different things that came out of realignment, but very excited about it. And, lots of teams means you're going to see the same teams all the time for the next 2 years, because there's not going to be as many openings for non-district games.
Well, I'll tell you what, this is a good bunch that we have right now. I think this opens up the opportunity for really good rivalries to be created, to be rekindled, right? I don't know. Have we played MacArthur before in district play? And
I don't know that we've. I know we play MacArthur all the time in softball.
Okay.
They come to our tournament. We go to the same tournaments. We know each other well. Baseball, I don't think so. Football, we've never played them in football. that I know of. We probably played them in different tournaments, maybe in basketball or volleyball,
Right.
but it's not like a regular
Like a
thing.
consistency, right?
Yeah, there's not like a.
So then there's an opportunity for somebody to, especially maybe like in soccer, which you can go to, looking at that, to have some really good competition.
I
healthy
think
competition.
soccer, there's an opportunity that we're going to get pushed a little bit
Yeah.
to a certain degree
And I
because they'll
think
have
you
some
need
teams
it, right?
in that area that are pretty good.
You need to be pushed and tested to hang with the best in the next rounds.
No doubt. And so our next round, and when we go to by district in the playoffs, we'll be again with the SAISD schools. Now in football, that's another story. So we were going to Corpus or Victoria and things like that. We hit a buzzsaw right off the bat. You hit the district of Bernie Champion, Smithson Valley,
Whoa.
Piper,
Whoa.
not Alamo Heights. You got Piper, Smithson Valley,
Bernie Champion.
Victoria East. Who's the other? There's a couple others in there that are like.
Whoa.
Well, Mac's in there. Mac, Wagner, and Mac, Wagner, and man, there's one. Oh, New Braunfels.
Okay. Canyon?
The Unicorns. They dropped
Gotcha.
because they built that new school, Long Creek. So,
Yeah.
so that's the first round of football. So instead of
Yikes.
seeing the Kennedy Rockets come in or something like that,
Bernie
it's gonna
Champion. There
be
you go.
it's gonna be Smithson Valley,
I think Smithson Valley just had
Bernie
a kid sign
Champion
with UT
or
today.
Bernie Champion or Piper or Wagner or somebody like that.
Well,
So, but you know what?
Lots of
We
good
got two teams
competition
that are getting ready to roll. So you never know. Let's
that's right.
go.
That's right.
Let's make it happen.
Love it. Well, give us a little bit of an update on soccer and then track. And I know
Well,
we
you
got
know,
some aquatics.
Soccer's rolling. You know, doing what they do. The Lady Titans had a 0-0 tie yesterday. So they're 1-1-1. They got 4 points. They're sitting in 5th place right now. The Titan soccer team, the boys, are doing very well. They're 3-0 right now. Got an 8-0 win over South San yesterday. They're kind of coming into their own. They're pretty. I think that the Fire and Armor Derby is going to be more interesting this year.
Nice.
I'm not ready to say that the Dragons are it's a 50-50 pick 'em.
Yeah.
But the Titans, Coach Sandoval and Coach Hallmart are doing phenomenal things, and those kids are awesome, working hard and doing and really getting things done. So really looking forward to that season for them. And then the Dragons are kind of just marching along, doing what they do. I mean, it's kind of like, why did you miss 2?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so
They played McCollum today?
they beat McCollum 10-0 last night.
Last night.
The boys did.
Yeah.
The girls beat them 6 or 8-0, something like that.
They beat McCollum 10-0.
Yes, and the
All right.
girls.
All right.
McCollum was undefeated. I mean, 2-0, something like that. But and then the Dragons went out on Friday, got caught in a rainstorm, got called. So on Monday they came back and it was 1-1 with about 27 minutes left.
Yeah.
On Monday they came back and beat Medina Valley, and that was a 3-2 score, and it was like a game.
Dang.
So for our expectation purposes, like what they've built our expectations to be in
Yeah.
Dragon Soccer Land, there's some room for improvement,
Sure.
right? That's not to say that they're not good.
Yeah.
It's just to say, okay, you beat Medina Valley 3-2. Like,
yeah. Come on.
like what are you doing?
5-0 is
Yeah,
what we're looking
yeah.
for.
But I mean, great coach, great kids, getting after it, and so expect big things. So
Undefeated
they're
in
kind of
district
rolling.
still.
So, and then in aquatics, this is the big week. The Region 7 5A regional championships are Friday and Saturday. Looking
Nice.
for some big things. Got a couple of girls that we think have a good shot at making the finals, the top 8, and working to be one of those top 2 or 3 to go to state.
Nice.
And then Dragons, same thing, working on breaking some records, things like that. But I think the big one that I'm very interested in is is the kid is a kid that as a sophomore is he is ranked right now third in the region, and they take the top 3. So if he does his job and he gets after it and just comes in poised and executes, he's on pace to be our very first in history state diver. And so I can't wait for that.
This won't be the last time on this podcast we mentioned first in history either when we get to talking about a few things. But looking at now the excitement around aquatics, there's an excitement around track, man. We're getting ready to really get going in the season. We have the Joe Marsh relays that is the kickoff for things. A very long day for you all and all the coaches and staff there at track. But one of the more exciting times here at Southwest ISD. Talk to us about it.
Yeah, we had a great time. Had Coach Marsh out there at the Joe Marsh Dragon Relays. Got to always love the Joe Marsh Dragon Relays because he hates being out there like in front of everybody all the time. So like, time to embarrass you, buddy, and everything. So he gets out there. Joe Marsh is amazing, and so had some really exciting performances. But really just the strength of, both teams, the amount of kids we had out there, the amount of kids that competed, how well they competed. You're on the boys' side, the normal crew is out. They really kind of showed out in terms of you had Tyson Dean getting third, I think, in the 200, and we had good teams there. It wasn't like a scrub fest or anything. We had Wagner was there, East Central was there. Our 2 teams were there. We had some good teams there, and so Tyson gets third in that. You got and there's just what I was impressed with was 2 things: our coaches and the way that the meet ran well. It was smooth. And that had that's a lot of testament to the coaches that go out there and work and the people that make it happen. But relay handoffs were smooth. Nice. And that's important because it's that first week. There weren't any injuries. You really get worried in the early season to track, especially when you were doing it so early right now, that you worry about those sprinters popping something or doing something like that. But our relay handoffs were really good. Had some people out there that were really competing. And then as always, you had the Zapatas came out and took care of business. And so you had Annabelle getting out there and winning the 2 mile or I think she was placing the top 2 in the 2 mile, and then of course you had Anthony just rolling, you know what I mean? And so I think Anthony won the mile, and he actually didn't run the 2 mile. He ran the mile and the 800. I think those are gonna be his 2 big races, and just a different cat, you know what I mean? It's like truly. He starts the mile and it looks like the 200 for everybody else. Yeah. And then he just keeps running more 200s and everything. And so really excited about that. And I think that kind of leads us into today and what we did before we got here.
Yeah, man. I mean, you talk about it. The Zapatas are a special group of a family and a brother and sister duo of dominance in cross country and track. And with that, today was National Signing Day. And Anthony Zapata signed for the University of the Incarnate Word here in San Antonio. We had UIW representatives there at the signing day there at Legacy. Packed auditorium with kids.
Yeah, that was pretty neat, wasn't it?
It was awesome, supporting students. And it wasn't just Anthony. We also had Abigail Soto, who's an incredible volleyball player there. And then we also had Anaya Torres, one of the top softball players there. And having those 2 being able to share that moment, especially on National Girl and Women in Sports Day, was really, really fun. And like I said, it was as loud for Anthony as it was for everybody else. It was an awesome thing to see. The football guys cheering on the softball girls cheering on Anthony, and the track and cross country cheering on the softball girls. I mean, it was just really, really fun time. You can tell there's a camaraderie that's built that goes beyond what we can say here on this podcast in sports. And I think looking at it, it was special not only because of Anthony and the other students, Abigail and Anaya, but it was the first time in Southwest Legacy history that we have a Division I athlete, at least somebody signing to go play Division I. So before we even continue, we do have a quick sound clip we want to play when we asked Anthony what he thought about being the first to really set the tone for the rest of Legacy Athletics in the future.
It's honestly a crazy crazy moment. I didn't expect to go D1. At the beginning of my journey, I thought I was gonna maybe go like D3, D2, but I obviously put in the work and it got me to being D1. So it's really crazy.
Alrighty. So talk to me, Coach, about when you look at this and you look at the three signings. What stood out to you about these three student athletes?
I think it's phenomenal first that Anthony's going to UIW, and he took visits to UTSA. In the early parts of his recruiting, he was being looked at by Iowa.
Yeah.
South Florida was talking to him, but he took a visit to Houston, and you know who coaches Houston, don't you?
Oh, isn't it Olympian?
Carl Lewis.
Yeah,
the Olympian.
Olympian.
Yeah, like one of the best all-time Olympians in the history of the United States. So he got to hang out with him, do all those kinds of things, and then made a good choice in that he looked at his academics and he looked at money and he looked at what is my actual life going to look like when I go to here or there and things like that. And I feel like that's something that athletes and our families and everybody, we get really caught up in the big lights of the big school, the D1, all of that kind of stuff. But we really have to take a step back and say, well, what's going to make me happy? You know what I mean? Because just is really signing with the Texas Longhorns just going to make me happy? And then what happens after that? Like, I actually have to live there. I actually have to do these things. Am I going to get a lot of playing time? Like, what kind of all of that am I going to do? So what am I about? What's the coach like? All those things. Or is it I just want to say I want to go to Texas? Like, so he made a really good conscious choice for what was best for him and his family, and I was very proud of him for that. I think the next big thing that I wanted to point out was the young ladies are going to colleges that you don't see, like they're not going to be on ESPN.
Right.
You know what I mean? You got Cedar Valley and you got Ranger, and that's special because that. What we used to tell, like we joked about on here before, is what we used to tell our football players. If you want to play college football, we'll find you a place to play college football. You know what I mean? But you have to want to, and we'll find you a spot. And that's what happened here is that we have two young ladies that want to, who are good enough to do it, and said, I want to do this, and they did the work. And found somebody who wanted them as well.
Correct.
Because that's the biggest thing, whether you're going to Texas or Cedar Valley or the school of the Southwest in Hobbs, New Mexico, or where my daughter is in McPherson in the middle of nowhere, Kansas, is who wants you? Like who wants you to be a part? Who really is affirming your work and your talent, and you want to go there?
Yeah.
And so these young ladies found Cedar Valley and they found Ranger College, and they're going to go do that. And I think that that's important to all of our kids as we go through this. Is it's not about the big lights; it's about the experience that you're going to have, and the life you're going to lead.
And that program is the coaches, the camaraderie, the people you meet. That's going to shape the next decades of your life,
correct,
and possibly your entire life of what you might learn there and the experiences you get. And the thing is, whether you play on TV, whether you play for just your family, friends, and supporters of the team, it doesn't make a difference because you're having an experience that not many people will ever get to have.
And it's like Coach Bocanegra said at the signings, like 1% of high school kids, or 3%, I don't know the exact number, but it's very low, are move on to go play any type of college athletics. And so you're in the 1 to 3% of people in high school that are going to do that. They get to do that somebody wants you to represent their school and bring your talents to their program.
Yeah.
And that's big, and kudos to them. But it also means that all of our kids can do that if they choose to put the work in every day and really love what they do.
Absolutely.
And that's what's most important in this signing thing, is that it's not just the Anthonys who go to state all the time. It's a kid that is out there taking ground balls every day, becoming the best infielder or outfielder that they can be, the best hitter that they can be, the best setter that they can be, the best whatever, the most coachable, the high character kid that takes care of business. people will find you, and you take care of that. And what these two young ladies and Anthony are showing and are testament to, and Starlet, when we had her signing a couple weeks ago and things like that, and we'll have a lot more, that you can if you choose to. When you walk through the hall at the athletics hall at Legacy, it says you can I can when I choose to. You can when we choose to. And so when you choose to get out there and do the consistent work, you got a shot.
Absolutely.
And that's what they're showing today.
Listen, success is when preparation meets opportunity, baby. That was the wise words
Look
of
at
Carla Medina
you.
right there. Those are the
Look at
wise words that
you.
she always tells me. And I think it's awesome to know that the programs that we have here at Southwest ISD, whether it be soccer, whether it be basketball, whether it be track, golf, tennis, aquatics, looking at every sport possible that we have here, there's opportunity on the other side of it as well, right? There's opportunity not only to get the experience as a student athlete, but to further your education while also taking that experience with you and being a student athlete, whether it's just learning life lessons. I think there's so much more about athletics than that meets the eye to some people.
I mean, look at you.
Yeah.
I mean, you turned out kind of okay.
Yeah, we're okay. And I wasn't an athlete. I was just in athletics.
And you were just in athletics.
That's right.
I mean, you kind of just stole the idea of student athlete.
That's right, and made it my own.
And made it your own. Yeah.
And now we have a Warrior program, which should have been copyrighted by Brandon Medina.
It probably should. We'll put we won't, but we could put your face on it.
Every single year when we vote for the Hall of Fame, you will get a Brandon Medina submission from Brandon Medina. I promise you. With that. Anyways, thank you so much.
With that, hands up.
Hands up. All right. Thank you for tuning in to another long edition.
Yeah, I was looking, I was like, man, I'm about to put myself to sleep.
But we appreciate you tuning in. If you made it this far, say it with us like we always do. We are
Southwest.
3, 2, 1.